And this morning, protesters with the Students for Justice in Palestine-UW Madison group gathered outside Sherman Middle School ahead of the president's visit. Over 30 members of the group were there, saying they organized to promote justice, liberation, and self-determination for Palestinian people.
I've been extremely disappointed, especially as a Jewish person of color who's had family members murdered in the Holocaust, that our president is actively supporting a genocide against Palestinians.
Members of the group say they will not support a president who, quote, supports genocide, end quote. While a majority of the protesters raised their hand to show they voted for Biden in the last election, some say they are undecided right now.